Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Carvel Community Meeting. Today's date is June 14th, 2021. Just a reminder that these meetings are being recorded and uploaded to our YouTube playlist. And we ask that everyone that attends reads and abides by our code of conduct, as well as puts in their name and the organization that they represent, if there is one. If you're independent, we also would like to know that. This lets us keep track of who's attending so we can keep the lines of communication open with those that do attend our community meetings. For anything that we may not get to today, or if there's anything that's more that needs to be more in-depth work on, we do have office hours that are every second and fourth Thursday of the month, starting at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we invite you to attend those or the community meetings, and we meet every Monday for the community meetings at that same time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Moving on to announcements. We are hiring for 3 different roles. We have the engineering role, we have a returnship, which is internship-like. It's based on, for those that may have had a leave of absence for caring for others, maybe have been out of work for that while they're taking care of someone with their family members. This is an opportunity to join the team, join the Carvel team here for what we call a returnship. Additionally, we are hiring for a software engineering role for the Carvel team based in Bangalore, India specifically. Aaron, was there anything else you wanted to cover regarding those open roles?
Nope, that's great.
Next on announcements, we have an image package release. It looks like it was mainly covering some bug fixes. Does anybody want to cover this particular release?
Yeah, so I can cover it. A couple of bug fixes. Essentially, when you did an image package push across different OSs, they resulted in different digest when you write to a table, and so that's been fixed. And then there's another one where if you in your image ref provided a shorthand image name, so Ubuntu, which is shorthand for Docker Hub library Ubuntu, it would cause issues when copying. And there's another kind of edge case around that, but they've both been fixed.
Oh, cool. And then on to status updates. Aaron, do you want to take over from here?
Sure. All right, let's see. Status updates. Starting with YTT schemas. Looks like I did not finish writing a sentence here. But schemas is currently in the usability testing phase, as well as, I guess, general UX improvements and bug squashing. Anything else that folks want to share here?
Yeah, that is the rest of that sentence. We are very excited about trying to incorporate folks' feedback. We're actively soliciting today, starting this week, for anyone who's interested in helping us kick the tires on this feature, getting us to generally accepted state. And really, the best way for that to work out for us is for someone else outside of the team, because we're so close to the problem and solution, to sit down and work with the tool while we have the camera rolling, while we're a fly on the wall. So anyway, if you're interested, go check out in our channel. You'll see a solicitation from me on a daily basis, asking folks if they're interested. Love to have you. We're very friendly. We don't bite. It's a lot of fun. It's just a chance to sit down together and play with some technology and help us get some feedback on how usable it is, and so we can address those gaps before we generally make it available. So looking forward. We got some signups but there is still some slots left. So go check that out in our Carvel channel in the Kubernetes Slack.
Awesome. There's also now documentation around schemas. So if you've been wondering what this schema thing is that we've been talking about, feel free to check those out in our carvel.dev site. And yeah, take that for a whirl.
Cool. The next status update is kapp-controller. The package manager API has been a focus of the team for a while now. And on Friday was our code freeze. So kicked out the first release candidate. Eli, anything you want to share there?
No, it's a release that has quite a few breaking changes, so be on the lookout if you're upgrading to it. But hopefully this is the last set of breaking changes and everything will be stable from now on. But just working through some docs to help capture what's changed and update the examples. And then we'll share it more publicly or widely.
Cool. And to clarify there, breaking changes in the sense of our alpha releases were pretty disruptive in the sense of we didn't make any promises around backwards compatibility. So we also took advantage of that by introducing quick changes. The plan for kapp-controller's next release is for this package manager API to GA early July. So we're really just taking these next couple of weeks to focus on stability. And then the last status update we have here is on image package. I would say we have some general enhancements or bug fixes that are going on. Dennis, anything you want to share there?
Not really. It's still in progress. I have a proof of concept, just chipping away at it.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Anything else top of mind for folks that they want to share before we get into the backlog? Cool. And as always, if there are topics you want to discuss or get some help with triage, please add those items. So we'll hop over to the backlog and we can start by filtering out schemas. And let's see, we have a couple bugs in here. Are these the ones you want to discuss today, John?
Yeah, we should take a peek at these. And again, as we're identifying potential issues, we're going to try and take a run at these. If there are things that are either are blocking or easy to do, we'll try and nail those. Otherwise, they might be things that we'll identify as a known issue as we go into this discussion of these things. So just a heads up. But yes, so we've talked about the first two items. This bug here, nested array in a schema, has a default value. So appreciate the very thorough yet succinct capture Carrie did on this one. Thank you. The essence of this is that if you're including a map that has an array, you'll actually get the example value of the array instead of it being defaulted. So here we expect that the ID of the 0th element of the resources. Wow, let me say that again. So within the array that is the resources, in this element, we're expecting that the source key has an ID that's an empty list. In the definition of this in the schema, we're just giving a value here. Really, this just means it's a string. because the default value for an array is an empty list. However, it seems like we're effectively just copying the subtree as opposed to providing the defaults. And so you end up actually getting that sample value as opposed to it being an empty list. I kind of chopped my way through that. Did that make sense? Okay. Any questions on that? All right. Yeah, Carrie.
Yeah, just to add what John said is we're essentially filling in like the sub items. So this only happens when you have a nested or an array nested in a map item. So there's very specific scenarios where this happens. It doesn't happen for like a top level map item or anything like, or top level array item or anything like that.
That's a great point. And this is part of why we're saying if this is not a difficult fix, then go ahead and include it, but it's not as much of a concern. It can be something we can identify as a known issue because it's not very common. Cool. All right. So take a look at the next bug.
Do we want to, I guess, estimate this as a way to, I guess, figure out if they're easy-ish or not?
The way I was thinking about it was this is an invitation to go in and triage this bug. And so when you pick this up, look to see what the possible fix is. And from there, make that determination. If that's something that basically can get done within a day, then let's do it. If not, let's circle back as a group.
Okay,
That's how I was thinking about these kinds of items.
gotcha. Cool. It might be useful to capture that context here just because I know not everyone's here on the call,
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
but that sounds good.
And that. Triage for known issue. Cool. All right. Yep. And here's another one of these cases where you will, where's our nullable? Device null schema is annotated as type true. Sorry, I got thrown off by the title. Okay, so this seems correct. We want to say null is not allowed here. Does anybody see the error in the first scenario? I'm not seeing that. I know there's one in the second.
I think that the gist of the story is to disallow null values in a schema when not applicable. Like just unless a node is annotated with the type any, it can't be null. And there are cases right now that when you do provide a null, a panic happens rather than an error.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's what this second scenario is showing, right, Carrie?
Yeah, exactly. This is where the symptoms showed up. I think the first scenario is just to kind of clarify that null values aren't allowed in a schema document if they're not annotated with any.
Okay, cool. I was like, wait, this looks right. I was a little confused. Great. Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay. All right. So the essence of this is to allow for, I think you literally just said this, but let me make sure I'm tracking this, is null is disallowed with one exception. And that is if you annotate that node as type any.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so for scenario 2, you can annotate a node as schema nullable, which means that the node could be the type given in the schema or null, and it is by default null. So as an example, if in your schema you set foo to null, there's not any benefit from annotating it with nullable, because the value will be null by default, and you're not providing an additional type that it could be. So that is sort of where this came up and why we want to disallow it for that annotation.
Yeah, that's a great clarification. And then why any? Well, because with any, two reasons. One is any literally means any. And so any value should be able to be set there. And also that it's actually pretty reasonable default to say any when you know that a particular chunk of configuration is just going to be passed through and you don't want to specify what it is. Null's a sort of a great value to represent that. So that's why that one is that one special case. Thanks for that help, Carrie. That's perfect.
So should we treat that bug the same as the last one? Investigate the complexity and then do it if it's less than 1 day's work?
Yep.
Cool. We should also add that to the issue. Yep.
Yeah, I got it to do. I'll come back around these and do that.
Cool, thank you. Do we want to discuss any further stories right now?
I think we've got enough horizon for this week with those. And I think there's one other bug that I'm triaging that might pull in that'll be the same kind of thing, and you'll see these things will sort of pop in as we get feedback from usability and other factors, the same kind of bug triage type approach.
There's also a bug Garrett and I picked up this morning that we haven't talked about. It's currently in progress. I don't know if it would be beneficial to talk about now, but just want to make sure we don't gloss over that. It's the very bottom of the list.
Yeah, should we chat about it?
Yeah, do you want to set us up, Carrie?
Sure. Yeah, so this is a regression identified between release 031 and 032. So in the example files given, you can see in the directory structure, at the top level, there's no data values file. There's only a template, config.yaml. And then there's also a private library called library, and it just has a template. And in the root level template, we are doing a template replace, and we are calling with data values on the library. The data values that are provided to that function are not populated anywhere because there's no data values file. So they're essentially empty. So then in the library, oh, it looks like I have something to update here. There is a values file for the library. In the library, when you try to use data values that are local to that library, they are essentially overwritten and emptied. And so they're not found. So the error that you see is none type has no .example field or method because the data values for that library were wiped out. And so this shows up because in release 32, the return type for an empty data values is now none, whereas previously it was a empty struct. And so kind of down the line, if you try to overlay a none type onto data values, it wipes them out. And so it essentially removes all the data values that exist in that library. Yeah, any questions?
Cool. Thank you. All right. So let's see. Just taking a look at the backlog then. I think YTT has plenty of horizon. What if we just try filtering on image package? Let's make this a little easier to follow. So we do have another bug in the backlog. Let's see. I'm not sure if we've discussed this one in IPM before. I don't know if there's any further. Okay, looks like Joao had. Okay. I guess there's some thoughts there. So I'm not sure if anyone here has like sufficient context on this bug. If anyone does, please feel free to lead through this discussion. No, okay. So this would be, I think the next one that would be in our backlog in the sense of that it's currently providing misleading information because it's not actually copying an image index, but instead it's just the first image is how I'm reading this. And then for pull, Dimitri's calling out that it was surprising as well in the sense of we could provide a better user experience to return an error. This one we could consider, I guess, kind of investigating the same way that we're doing the YTT bugs. I don't know, maybe at least like investigating for a day or so would be enough time to figure out how we'd like to proceed or what our options there will be.
Yeah, that makes sense for the bug. I see a bug, and then there's maybe like an enhancement, which is when pulling an image index you better give us the digest of the image you want in the image index. Otherwise, error out. And that seems to be like an enhancement and less of a bug. But yeah, we can definitely triage for a day and see what's entailed, and if it's way complicated, we can call that out.
Cool. Yeah, and I like the idea of extracting out the enhancement, like you said too. That'd be good to keep these a bit more single purpose.
Yeah, if I pick this up, I can definitely create that UX enhancement issue separate to this bug, I think.
Cool. Any questions? Thoughts? All right, cool. So I know image package backlog is a little thin. We do have, I guess, some other bugs that have been filed recently that maybe we'll just want to take a look at this week and figure out if or when we want to prioritize them. But if we manage to get through these ones, that'd probably be the next thing up on the image package side. Cool. Well, is there anything else that we would like to discuss today? All right, we can wrap up early today then.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for joining this week's edition of the Carvel community meeting. If you're watching from home and you have any comments that you wish to share with the team, please find us on the Carvel channel in the Kubernetes Slack workspace, or on Twitter at Carvel_dev, that's DEV. Otherwise, you can also join us here at our community meetings. We meet every Monday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. We also have our Carvel office hours, which are every second and fourth Thursday of the month at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. And that's a opportunity for you to bring anything that you need more in-depth help on for discussion topics, or something that you're kind of lost on with the tool suite. The maintainers are eager to help you navigate all the different tools that are under the Carvel umbrella. So with that, there are some opportunities that we are asking for help on from you. So yeah, we look forward to engaging with you. Thank you.